How do you know if your relationship with a narcissist is really that bad? Particularly if there's no physical abuse and potentially no screaming or name calling. When you're in a narcissistic relationship, you lose the ability to trust your gut and your intuition and to be able to validate yourself because you're not living in reality. You're being forced to live in their reality. And if you're new here, I'm a narcissistic abuse educator and a narcissistic relationship recovery coach. Make sure you follow me on YouTube and you can book a session with me through the link in my bio. So I'm going to talk about some of the ways that you know that the relationship is really that bad. And the number one way is you are extremely confused. You're experiencing brain fog, tiredness. You're doubting what you're seeing and hearing and feeling, and you feel like you're losing your mind. Healthy, loving relationships bring clarity, not confusion. And like my friend Adriana says, if you are confused, you're being abused. Another sign is that you're experiencing extreme cognitive dissonance. You cannot decide whether this person is good or bad, amazing or terrible, whether they love you or hate you. Extreme cognitive dissonance is one of the hallmarks of a narcissistic relationship or a relationship with a cluster B personality. Another sign that it's that bad is that you have lost the ability to validate yourself. You have to look to your abuser to determine what is and what isn't, and you question yourself constantly. Another sign is that you are constantly looking up narcissistic abuse, narcissistic personality disorder, psychopathy, typing into Google, why doesn't my partner care when I cry? When you're in a healthy relationship, you don't have these thoughts, and you're certainly not desperately researching to try to get that external validation because you can't validate yourself that something's wrong. Another sign is that your gut and your intuition and your body are screaming at you that something's wrong, but you are forcing it down with all of your might, all of your rationalizations and justifications. And that's another sign. You are rationalizing and justifying and doing your own mental gymnastics to try to make this person's behavior okay, minimizing their abuse and trying to take all of the responsibility on yourself. Another sign that it's that bad is that you can't remember things clearly. Your memory is shot. You can't remember words. You can't remember things that happen. And sometimes you suddenly remember things and you cannot believe how you forgot it. When you're in a highly emotionally and psychologically abusive relationship, your system gets flooded with cortisol. And when you're in a relationship like this for a long period of time, those high levels of cortisol can actually affect your hippocampus, which is where short-term memory is stored. So if you're experiencing that, it's bad. You have constant anxiety. Maybe you're getting panic attacks for the first time in your life. You've become isolated, whether you are self-isolating because of what's going on or because your abuser is isolating you. They punish you in any context at all. This behavior is not okay. They punish you when you do something they don't want you to do. Overtly or covertly, silent treatment, sabotaging you, things like this. You know that they're bad for you, but you can't leave, or you feel like you will die without them. That is a trauma bond. And if you're trauma bonded, it's bad because a trauma bond forms through a cycle of abuse and repair. You are lying to people about what's really going on because you either don't want other people to think badly of the person you're with, or because you're ashamed of what's really going on, or because you're trying to convince yourself that it's not as bad as it is. Your body is warning you that something's wrong. You are chronically sick, you're not sleeping, or you can't sleep next to this person. You're having all kinds of health issues. You feel crazy. You're clinging on to things like the fact that they haven't physically hit you and rationalizing and justifying the behavior that way. You're telling yourself that the next time something happens, you're gonna leave, and then you don't. And then you tell yourself the next time something happens, you're gonna leave, and then you don't. A relationship has to be pretty bad to be having those kind of conversations with yourself. Another sign is that your boundaries have eroded and you're finding yourself putting up with behavior that you never thought you would ever put up with, but you are. Another sign is that this person has withdrawn love, affection, attention, and sex, but when they do throw you a breadcrumb, or they're less critical, or they're slightly easier to get on with, or they do something nice, you get overwhelmed with gratitude and hope and relief. And it feels like they have harnessed the moon and they're handing it to you because they did something that any normal person would do regularly and without without care and it wouldn't seem special. But because this person is so neglectful, those little things feel huge. Another sign is that you just feel bad all the time. You're potentially telling yourself stories like, but it's good most of the time, or but when it's good, it's so good. Trust me, when you're telling yourself, but when it's good, it's so good, it's not good. The fact that you have to tell yourself that, by definition, means that it's not good. So these are a few signs that the relationship is really that bad. Let me know in the comments how many of these you experience or are experiencing.